show. My name is Callie, and the kids call me Miss Callie. It's my pleasure to teach and share music every week in this school year. I had a wonderful time with them. They are all good kids. They spend lots of effort and time for preparing this show. And through this show, they build up their confidence on stage, and they learn how to do teamwork. Please take a moment to silence your cellular phone, and please supervise your little kid so that everyone can enjoy the show. Please keep the middle aisle and the back doors clear. Our performers are going to use these two front doors to go up the stage. So if you need to go outside, please use the back doors. And I can't wait. Are you ready, kids? You're ready? Yes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the adventures of Lewis and Clark.
Welcome to our show. In 1804, the young United States government, under the leadership of President Thomas Jefferson, commissioned two remarkable men to travel, explore, and chart the soon-to-be acquired lands of the Louisiana Purchase. They were Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. Their main job was to find the source of the Missouri River. Jefferson hoped that this would lead them to the Columbia River and off to the Pacific Ocean. If successful, the expedition would open a highway across America.
They led a group of 40 soldiers, a French trapper named Charbonneau, his Shoshone wife and guide Sacagawea, a slave named York, and a Newfoundland dog named Scannon. Jefferson called them the Corps of Discovery. In tonight's musical, we will reveal with you the adventures of Lewis and Clark. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Thank you everyone for your warm and enthusiastic reception. The name of my report is Every Single Day in the 3-year-long expedition of Captain Meriwether Lewis and Captain William Clark. I'm sure that you will find it fascinating, as well as thorough. On the first day of their famous adventure, the two young explorers woke up. Then they washed up for breakfast. Then they ate breakfast. Then they washed the dishes. Then they went for a canoe ride. Then they cooked their lunch. Then they ate their lunch. Their lunch was good. It was venison, berries, potatoes. Quiet! I'm trying to give a report here. How rude. Who could this be anyway? What's going on here?
We're back! We're back! We're back! We're back!
Back? Back from what? Back from where? Who are you?
Who are we? Why, we're Lewis and Clark.
That's Clark and Lewis.
Okay. We're back from the expedition.
Yup, we made it to the Pacific Ocean and back in just 2.5 years.
We would have made it here sooner, but we kept having to go back to rescue Scannon.
Yeah, the natives wanted to eat him. Yeah, it was.
Wait a minute. Just wait a long minute here. The expedition of Lewis and Clark.
That's Clark and Lewis?
Don't try to confuse me, mister. I happen to know
to lead the expedition. That's right, he is. And I know I'm William Clark, the other victim. I mean captain, that was asked to make the trip. And I'm Charbonneau, clumsy guide and interpreter. At least I think I am. Am I?
And I'm Sacagawea, the guide for the group and Charbonneau's wife.
You are? I mean, I do.
Oh, brother.
I'm certain I'm the slave that made the trip. They call me York. Ruff, ruff. I'm the dog. Scanning. Could you tell?
Yeah, she's a dog, all right. No doubt about it.
Here, Scanning. My ears.
I'm so confused. If what you're telling me is true, I'm not gonna get an A in my report. Failure is not an option.
Wait. Report?
Well, yes. You see, I was supposed to give a report to the class about the adventures of Lewis. I know! Clark and Lewis. I don't care if they're Tom and Jerry or Jerry and Tom. My report says that you've been home since 1806. Now, why should anyone believe anything I say?
Don't get all upset, little girl. We'll explain the whole thing to you. Yeah, we'll give you a first-hand account of our trip. It was wonderful. It was eventful. It was eye-opening. It was rough. Let's tell her all about it. Hit it, fellas!
In the year 1800, Louisiana was transferred to France under a secret treaty with Spain. Jefferson was worried that Napoleon would try to take all of North America for France. The United States wanted to buy the land near New Orleans so that they could guarantee the United States the right to sail ships down the Mississippi River and use New Orleans as a port.
Moreover, the United States wanted to possess the entire territory of Louisiana because so many American settlers and merchants were already in the region. In 1803, Napoleon, facing military failures in Haiti and challenges in Europe, offered to sell the United States not only New Orleans, but all of the Louisiana territory for a total purchase price of $15 million.
Well, I'm still not totally convinced, but this sure is going to make for an interesting report.
And have we got stories to tell you?
Well, since I've got you here, I may as well check a few of my facts.
Shoot, lady. Don't exactly shoot. You had quite enough of that for a while.
That's for sure. Tell her how you shot Captain Lewis right in the rear because you thought he was an elk Charbonneau. Ooh, yeah, that was rough.
Oh, she doesn't want to hear about that. Neither do I.
What I don't understand is why President Jefferson was so keen on having you do the trip in the first place. After all, that territory wasn't even a part of the United States at the time, was it?
No, it sure wasn't. But President Jefferson had already dispatched two very capable fellows, James Monroe and Robert Livingston, to France to try to buy some land from the Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, who was way over his head from fighting wars all over Europe. Not that over his head was very high, but frankly, he was pretty well broke.
Sounds like a good time for a deal.
It's President Jefferson with Monroe and Livingston. Look over there.
You better do it. She is the guide, you know.
It is vitally important to the United States commerce that we have access to the Mississippi River in port of New Orleans. Go negotiate with Napoleon. As president, I grant you the authority to purchase New Orleans and the land surrounding it. Mr. Livingston, Mr. Monroe, all eyes, all hopes are fixed on you. On the event of this mission depends on the future destiny of this republic.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. We understand how urgent this is. What did he say?
We have to go negotiate with Napoleon. If he sells Louisiana to us, it will be the deal of the century. Let's go!
President Thomas Jefferson wanted to send an expedition to explore and map the newly acquired land, so he appointed his personal secretary, 28-year-old Meriwether Lewis, to lead the expedition. Lewis brought along his friend, 33-year-old William Clark, to help.
Lewis and Clark were instructed to draw maps, record scientific observations, and collect specimens. Most importantly, they were to find the Northwest Passage. The Northwest Passage was a path of water that went all the way across the continent to the Pacific Ocean so that the United States may have a way to trade with Asia.
So you see, Monroe and Livingston bought a lot more than they originally intended.
Yeah, like 860,000 square miles. It doubled the size of the United States.
For only $15 million.
That's less than 3 cents per acre. It's sort of the blue light special of land deals. The truth is, we didn't even know what America owned when we set out on our journey. I thought we were going on a little canoe ride or something.
Many Americans had some strange ideas about ownership in that time in our history. You can say that again.
Tom happened to find a way to the Pacific. We had to write down everything we saw. It was so boring. President Jefferson told us to make detailed reports about soil, plants, fossils, minerals, and anything else that moved. Except you!
Well, let's get back to the trip itself. So, we headed out of St. Louis in a couple of canoes and a couple of keel boats. Was the trip everything you thought it would be?
Are you kidding? It was the adventure of a lifetime! It was spectacular!
It was enlightening.
What trip?
It was freeing.
It was magnificent.
It was glorious.
It was stupendous! Oh, wait! Stop! Hold it! I can't believe what I'm hearing, and I've known to have some pretty good ears. Good grief! Fellas, give me some music. Well, baby, let me give it to you straight. From one who did the entire trip on 4 little paws and a hike
Corps encountered threatening wildlife, cascading waterfalls, extreme winter weather, and a shortage of food and supplies. While Lewis and Clark were the first Americans to see much of what would have become the western United States, those same lands had long been occupied by native peoples. Over the course of the expedition, Lewis and Clark would come into contact with nearly 50 Native American tribes. Through the entire journey, Lewis and Clark made friendly and peaceful relationships with many of the tribes. They presented peace medals, flags, and gifts of tobacco to the tribes they met. In exchange for the goods, the Native Americans supplied food, provided winter shelter to the explorers, and gave advice about the routes the Corps would be traveling.
Did you guys know that Sacagawea was pregnant during that long trip?
That was so 13 seconds ago. The president said we are supposed to draw wildlife. Do either of you even know how to draw a grizzly bear? Done! That was so 25 seconds ago. Did you guys hear? The scannon almost got eaten by the natives.
It was so 46 seconds ago. Here they come now. Good luck!
Boy, does that sound rough.
No kidding, lady! Well, scanning is right to a certain degree. It can be a pretty trying adventure. What with wild animals, miserable weather, and trying to keep the native populations from doing us in.
Well, what about those native populations? What was their reaction to your visiting their lands?
Why did you ask Sacagawea? She probably knows the best answers to those questions. Oui, she is the guide, you know.
And your wife.
She is? Well. It's true we never would have made it without Sacagawea and her skills as guide and interpreter.
Sacagawea, how did your people respond to their visitors from the east?
Oh, my friend, most of the tribes welcomed us with open arms. They shared their food, their homes, and their friendship. They did not feel there was any reason to be afraid.
In most instances, we were visitors in a world
1805, the Corps of Discovery arrived at a major fork in the road. None of the Native Americans had mentioned it. The branches were the same size, and the trees on either side were the same as well.
The Corps had to choose correctly so that they could stay in the Missouri River and be well past the Rocky Mountains, find the Shoshone Indians, get some horses, portage to the head of the Columbia, and reach the Pacific Ocean before winter closed in.
They could not afford to get lost. Accordingly, the captain sent search parties in both rivers. The only way to know that they were on the right path was to go much further up each path until one of them led to the Great Falls. This allowed them to choose the right path, the true Missouri River.
Wow, I'm beginning to see Native Americans in a whole new way. But my big question now is, how did you ever really know where you were going out there in the wilderness?
It was Ryan Skinner. Yeah, it wasn't always easy. But with the help of Sacagawea and other native guys along the way, who learned where we come from, plus the stars, sun, planets, and the river current, the direction was usually quite obvious. Actually, it was our expert master in the sciences of astronomy, geography, geology, geometry, physics, meteorology, and all of the earth sciences matched with our innate sense of direction, line, and form that got us to and from our single manifest destination without a single very missed cue.
In other words, we got lucky.
For a minute, it is the early 1800s, and you are thousands of miles from home with limited supplies in a strange and foreign land. It was like having no Wi-Fi. The adventure with Lewis and Clark was full of heartache, danger, adventure, and isolation. As the Corps made its way through its journey, they all needed inspiration to keep on going.
Music was one thing that was vital to lifting the spirits of the explorers. Musicians were vital to maintaining morale.
Among the crew, there were 2 fiddlers. At the end of a long day of the trail, the fiddlers would play and the crew would dance. They were also called on to imitate the Native Americans. Some sing traditional folk songs to help pass the time, while counseling and inspiring them to move forward. Some of the songs were spiritual in nature and helped them believe that their short-term problem will pass by, and eventually they will journey to a better place.
I guess that explains that. Now, York, how about you? How did it feel for you to be so far away from home?
I've always been a long way from home, miss. Out in the west, in a whole new land, I felt more free than I ever had.
Te vavone,
What was that, Charbonneau?
te vavone. It's a Shoshone word that means stranger.
The truth is, I guess we are all strangers in one form or another in this strange new land.
I know I'm strange.
Te-va-vo-ne. What a beautiful word.
It's funny how even in a crowd, a person can feel pretty alone.
Wandering through
fall 1805, after crossing the harsh Rocky Mountains, the correspondence fleet was led to the Columbia and then to the Pacific Ocean. With help from the Nez Perce tribe, the Corps sent their canoes down the river.
Within days, almost without warning, the Corps found themselves in the tumbling waters of the Columbia, rushing toward the Pacific Ocean. Finally, in November of 1805, their persistence was rewarded. William Clark entered in his famous entry in his journal, "Ocean in View."
Oh, the joy!
Was there ever a time when you thought you might not ever make it across the entire continent?
In fact, yes. Indeed, there were times like that.
Like when we thought the Sioux were going to throw us all in. Or that time we nearly froze to death the winter we spent with the Mandans.
Or how about the time we saw 220 grizzly bears in one day?
That's right. One of them went for Charbonneau for lunch.
Really? That must have been scary.
That was scary, all right. Well, I think the worst days were the ones we spent with the Nez Perce out on the Columbia River. We ate nothing but salmon and dog meat for weeks on end.
Dog meat. Ew. Ah, yes, the Columbia. That's when I knew for sure we were going to make it across the Pacific.
I learned all about the Columbia River in school. What was it like?
I had a feeling we weren't in Kansas anymore. After making it past the Great Falls of the Missouri, I thought I'd never want to see a Russian River again.
We had made it across the entire chain of Rocky Mountains. Needless to say, we were pretty battered. Then, Captain Clark discovered a large river we called Clearwater that led us right to the mighty Columbia.
We also met up with the Nez Perce Indians who saved our lives through their kindness and generosity. I remember it well.
We will help you on your journey, since we're allies with the Corridor, Yakima, and Settlers tribes. We can help protect you.
I'll never forget how he fed us.
We will teach you how we catch fish with our spears and nets, and we will provide you with other animals we hunt. Animals like deer, elk, and other game that we will help you hunt. We will also give you roots to eat as well as fruits, nuts, and seeds.
We will teach you how we build our home. We will dig an underground room and build a wooden frame over it and cover the frame with earth, cedar bark, and chili mats.
You see, that wasn't the only thing they helped us build. Most important of all was that they helped us build new dugout canoes!
By hauling off ponderosa pine trees, we can help you make a canoe that will last you the rest of your journey. We have shown you how to hunt, we have given you shelter, and we are glad that we are now friends. After we had enough food and strong canoes, we finally got back on that beautiful river making its tumbling dash to the sea. The Corps of Discovery returned to St. Louis in September of 1806. They had been away for 2 years, 4 months, and 10 days. The group had traveled more than 7,000 miles. Lewis and Clark never found the waterway that led through the continents of North America into the Pacific, but they traced the Missouri River to its source, descended into the Columbia, and made their way into the Pacific. Their journey produced the best maps of the West at that time. Numerous trappers, traders, and settlers followed in their footsteps. The Lewis and Clark expedition was a journey that produced knowledge to spark the minds of scientists and fired the imagination of future settlers. They discovered 122 animals new to science and founded 178 new types of plants. Their journals are considered a national literary treasure.
The expedition also brought back information about the West. Their journals detailed accounts of native ceremonies, costumes, and customs. If not for the natives who fed, healed, and guided them, the Corps would have failed their journey.
President Jefferson reacted with unspeakable joy upon the return of the Corps of Discovery. Each member of the Corps was recognized as a hero who courageously dared to explore new and uncharted lands. Their journey paves the way for Americans to dream of a day where their country was stretched from sea to shining sea.
Oh my goodness, I must have fallen asleep. Hey, where did everybody go? Clark, Lewis, where are you? Sacagawea, Lord, Charbonneau? Here's Scannon. Oh no, you mean it was all nothing but a dream? But it all seems so real. I guess it was too good to be true. What was that? Could it be? Lewis, Clark, Sacagawea, is it really you? Oh, hi Julie, it's only you.
Cassie, you'll absolutely never believe what just happened to me. I was working on my report about King Arthur and his Knights of the Royal Round Table, and you'll never guess who came knocking at my door.
King Arthur and his knights?
No, that's impossible. They've been dead for hundreds of years.
Well, who then?
2 guys named Clark and Lewis, and a whole group just home from a cross-country expedition.
We're back! Hit it, gang!
Lewis and Clark,
This show was made possible by Gomes PTA and our Music for Minors 2 docents. Music for Minors 2 docents are passionate volunteers who come to our classrooms and teach us music every week.
We would especially like to thank Mrs. Callie for directing this show. Ms. Callie spent countless hours coming every day in the last 2 months, teaching and practicing with us the dance, the songs, and the script.
I would also like to thank our other docents for their hard work all week, backstage during rehearsals and showtimes, taking care of the sound, lights, curtains, especially props, and costumes. Please welcome Mrs. Hertel.
From Gomes a few years ago. However, they are so kind to still volunteer. Without our Music for Minors 2 docents, there would be no music class or this show at Gomes. The students at Gomes need more volunteers for the next school year. If you are interested in helping or becoming a docent, please talk to one of our docents at the end of the show.
For parents' information, all students will first be sent back to their own classrooms to remove their costumes. While they do that, may I ask the parents to stay and help put away the chairs because our staff has set up for tomorrow's science fair here. Afterwards, you may pick up your children from their classrooms.
Thank you for coming to our show. We hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice evening!
Wonderful woman, and that was wonderful. She comes into our 5th grade classes every week. She has pulled the kids during lunch and recesses to work on the dance routines which she choreographed. She not only has been involved with Music for Minors, she has volunteered in the classroom as a fame parent. She drives for field trips. She was also the parent from our school that organized the ensemble that participated in the FUSD talent show. Right? So anyway, and he himself has also been very participating and involved with our schools. So
thank you again, Mrs. Lee, and thanks for coming out tonight to support your